The Secretary will call the roll.
Alquist, Anderson, Berryhill, Blakesley, Calderon, Canella, Corbett, Correa, De Leon, DeSaulnier, Dutton, Emerson, Evans, Fuller, Gaines, Hancock, Harmon, Hernandez, Huff, Kehoe, LaMalfa, Leno, Ted Lieu, Carol Liu, Lowenthal, Negrete McLeod, Padilla, Pavley, Price, Rubio, Runner, Simidian, Steinberg, Strickland, Vargas, Walters, Wolk, Wright, Weiland, Yee.
The Secretary informs me we are absent a quorum, members. I'd ask the senators to report to the Senate floor for session. The Secretary informs me a quorum is present, members. I'd ask the senators and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery to please stand. We'll be led in prayer this afternoon by our guest chaplain. And I am honored to introduce the Right Reverend Christopher Senyun Jo. He is the retired Bishop of West Baranga, Buganda, Uganda, and the Executive Director of the St. Paul's Reconciliation and Equality Center in Kampala, Uganda. In the rear of the chambers with him today is his esteemed wife, Mary, the Reverend Canon Albert Ogle of St. Paul's Foundation for International Relations in San Diego, and from the Sierra Arden United Church of Christ here in San Diego, the Reverend Ginny Karinga. And I would ask the Bishop to come forward and say our prayer, after which we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Senator Negrete McLeod.
Thank you, Senator Keogh. Before I say the word of prayer, I would like to thank you all, the Senate, for having passed Resolution 51, which has been a great help to my ministry of reconciliation and compassion. So let us pray. O compassionate one, the mystery with the many names, prayed to in many languages. Hear the prayers of your humble servants who come to you seeking guidance, wisdom, and compassion for the people of California. As you, your senators, we give you thanks for the blessings of land and sea, the richness of cultures, and the strength of diversity, or images of your abiding presence. Forgive us for the past wrongs that have divided and brought injustice to parts of the human family. Give us listening and discerning hearts. Give us patience and a willingness to remain open to opposing viewpoints. Give us grace to disagree and still be friends. Finally, we commend to your care the children about to begin a new school year, the unemployed and destitute, the sick, and all who care for them, the clergy of all faiths and the communities they lead, that our unity may deepen. Watch over us and help us to break down the barriers of class, religion, gender, and sexual inequality, that each may reach their potential and serve the common good. May this day be a blessing to each one of us, that we may finally say, could we say together, what is done? If you can. What is not done, so let it be. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members, we are at privileges of the floor. Privileges of the floor. Senator Huff at Senator Steinberg's desk.
Thank you, Madam President. As elected officials, we certainly can't reach out to all of our constituents by ourselves. It takes a team around us. And to the degree that we have a great team, we do a great job. I'd like to recognize today an intern that I've had for the last 3.5 years who has become part of the fabric of the Senator Bob Huff district office operation. He has not only been the young guy that runs our IT stuff because he's technically savvy, but he's done constituent services, represented me at meetings, and done everything alongside of my other employees. I'd certainly like to recognize Brett Meyer this morning for his outstanding service to the state of California and to my office.
Thank you, Senator Huff. Members, we're under motions or privileges of the floor. Other introductions? Senator Leno? Not here yet. And members, we'll wait till about 12:30 to introduce the fellows. Members, we will move on to messages from the governor. They will be deemed read. Messages from the Assembly will be deemed read. Reports from committee will be deemed read and amendments adopted. We are at motions and resolutions. Pursuant to Senate Rule 29.10, the following bills are referred to the Rules Committee. File Item 119. The bill is SB 773. File Item 122. The bill is SB 857. Thank you, members. Are going to Rules. Without objection, the following resolutions will be withdrawn from committee and placed on today's special consent agenda, SCR 54, ACR 62. All right. And there are floor amendments at the desk. They will be deemed adopted. Members, we're going to consideration of the daily file, the second reading file. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 921, Assembly Bill 1102 with amendments, 946, 155 with amendments, 781 with amendments, 52, 91, 124, 187, 202, 210, 211, 220, 228, 239, 241, 258, 289.
Second reading file is deemed read. Members, we will proceed now to Assembly third reading, starting with file item 152, members. And members who wish to take up an item, starting with file item 152. Mr. DeSaulnier? File item 152, he is not at his desk. File item 153 has no manager. Mr. DeSaulnier, file item 154, not at his desk. Senator Evans, file item 155, not at her desk. Members, if you could report to the floor, we're ready to take up file item Assembly third reading. We're at file item 156. File item 156, Senator DeSaulnier, not at his desk. File item 157, no manager. File item 158, Senator Wright, not at his desk. File item 159, also Senator Wright, not at his desk. File item 160, Senator De Leon, not at his desk. File item 161, Senator Negrete McLeod is at her desk. Thank you, Senator Negrete McLeod. We will have the Secretary read.
Assembly Bill 397 by Assembly Member Monning, enacting to workers' compensation insurance.
Senator Negrete McLeod, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam President. You didn't let me say bingo. 397 requires a licensed contractor with an exemption for workers' compensation insurance to recertify the exemption upon license renewal or provide proof of workers' compensation insurance coverage. Currently, there are no provisions for demonstrating the active maintenance of worker compensation exemption certifications once initial licensure has been issued. This is a bipartisan supported effort with widespread support from the construction industry, small business, and unions. There is no opposition to the bill, and I request your aye vote.
Members, is there discussion on file item 161? Any discussion? Seeing none, Secretary will call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Calderon. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. De Leon. DeSaulnier. Dutton. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Fuller. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. I, Lamalfa. Leno. I, Ted Lieu. Carol Lieu. I, Lowenthal. I, Negrete McLeod. I, Padilla. I, Pavley. I, Price. I, Rubio. I, Runner. Semidian. Steinberg. I, Strickland. I, Vargas. I, Walters. I, Wolk. I, Wright. Wyland. I, Yee. Yee, I. Correa, I. Wright, I. Blakesley, I. De Leon, I. DeSaulnier, I.
Call the absent members.
Calderon. Dutton. I. Evans. Fuller. Harmon. Lamalfa. I. Ted Lieu. I. Runner. Semidian.
Ayes 34, no 0. The measure passes. Members, a correction on my previous announcements regarding Rule 2910. It was file item 122 that is referred to rules, not file item 121. Okay, thank you. And we will now, members, go to Senator Leno, who is at Senator Steinberg's desk for a brief introduction. Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to some very important people. They would be those from the Golden Gate Bridge, Highway, and Transportation District who take care of this iconic landmark, which is, of course, known throughout the world. It's their job to make sure that it's operating at full capacity at all time and also oversee the largest ferry system in the entire state. On a typical summer day, you know, when it's 55 degrees and the gale force winds are howling about 40 miles an hour and the fog is so dense you can't see in front of you, there are about 10,000 pedestrians and 6,000 bicyclists who are crossing that bridge each day. And as we approach the 75th anniversary of the bridge, which will be next May, it's important that we recognize the voters of Del Norte, Mendocino, Napa, Sonoma, Marin, and San Francisco counties who took a real leap of faith to build the bridge. It was in the 1920s that they voted to put their homes, their factories, their vineyards, their farms as guarantees for the astronomical $35 million in bonds that were used to pay to build and design, construct the bridge. And we should remember that not one penny of state or federal funds were used for its construction. So keep in mind as I introduce these folks, they are the ones that you need to know if you're ever going to get that tour of the bridge that takes you up the elevator to the top of the North Tower to see the view of a lifetime. Trust me. So please welcome the General Manager, Dennis Mulligan, Board President, Janet Riley, Albert Borrow, Director and Mayor of the City of San Rafael, Gerald Cochran, also on the Board of Directors. We welcome you all.
Welcome. Welcome to the Senate chambers. The Golden Gate Bridge is one of our treasures in the whole country. Senator Leno, we're delighted to have your guests on the Senate floor. Members, we will return to Assembly third reading. We are at file item 162, Senator Hancock. File item 162. Senator Hancock passes on the file. We will return to file item 163 a little later, members, around 1 p.m. File item 164, Senator Lieu. Senator Lieu, the Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 1010 by Assembly Member Furutani, an act relating to law enforcement.
Senator Lieu, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam President, members. This bill provides city attorneys with an additional tool to aid their investigations. This bill enables these attorneys with the ability to record conversations in which one of their investigators are participating in, and the bill does not include wiretapping. Some of these offices, such as LA City Attorney's Office, proactively pursue businesses that engage in consumer abuse, such as loan modification schemes or phony talent agencies. In these cases, recorded conversations with the fraudulent businesses are key for the prosecution. This bill has received bipartisan support. It's sponsored by LA City Attorney. It's supported by the California District Attorneys Association, the San Diego City Attorney, and the Consumer Affairs Association, among others. Respectfully request an aye vote.
Members, is there a discussion on file item 164? Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, the Secretary will call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Correa. Aye. De Leon. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Kehoe. LaMalfa. Aye. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Aye. Vargas. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee, no. Huff, aye.
Call the absent members.
Corbett. De Leon. Aye. Evans. Harmon. Kehoe. Negrete McLeod. Runner. Semidian. Steinberg. Steinberg, aye.
That ayes are 32, noes 1. The measure passes. File item 165, Senator Leno. 160. The Secretary. Senator Leno passes. File item 166, Senator Evans is not at her desk. File item 167, Senator Woke. The Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 1388 by Assemblymember Wachowski, enacting to judgment debtors.
Senator Woke.
Madam President, members, 1388 seeks to provide much-needed relief to California's working poor by modifying an antiquated provision of law. Ordinarily, if a debtor's wages are garnished or a bank account is levied, the debtor can file a claim of exemption. A creditor who disagrees can request a hearing in front of the Superior Court judge to determine whether the claim of exemption is valid. Unfortunately, there is a roadblock to the exemption procedure for medical debt. As a result, debtors cannot file claims of exemption from garnishments and levies that stem from medical bills. For low-income workers, medical debt can quickly turn into homelessness and hunger. This is especially cruel when because no one chooses to fall ill. This bill will address the problem. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Members, is there debate or discussion? Any debate or discussion? Seeing none, the Secretary will call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. No. Berryhill. No. Blakesley. No. Calderon. Canella. No. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Dutton. No. Emerson. No. Evans. Aye. Fuller. No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Harmon. Hernandez. Huff. No. Kehoe.
Aye.
Aye. LaMalfa. No. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Semidian. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. No. Vargas. Aye. Walters. No. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. No. Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
DeSaulnier, aye. Calderon. Hancock. Aye. Calderon, aye. Hancock, aye. Harmon.
Members,
Hernandez.
the Secretary is calling the roll. Let's go through it one time.
Hernandez, aye. Price, aye. Runner. Semidian.
Ayes 24, noes 13, measure passes. File item 168, Mr. Semidian is not at his desk. File item 169 will pass for now. File item 170, Senator Leno, the Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 1396 by the Committee on Labor and Employment, an act relating to employment.
Senator Leno, please.
This bill eliminates an unconstitutional inconsistently in current law, which exempts employers residing and doing business within the state of California from putting employee commission contracts in writing. It was a California court that ruled the current law is in violation of the Commerce and Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution because it did not apply to in-state as well as out-of-state employers, thereby making current law unenforceable. Let me note that as a result of an amendment which deletes the triple damages, the California Chamber of Commerce and CJAC are now neutral on the bill. I ask for your aye vote.
Is there debate or discussion, members? Any debate or discussion on file item 170? Seeing none, the Secretary will call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. No. Berryhill. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Canella. No. Corbett. Aye. Correa. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. No. Emerson. No. Evans. Aye. Fuller. No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Harmon. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. No. Kehoe.
Aye.
Aye. LaMalfa. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Semidian. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. No. Vargas. Aye. Walters. No. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. No. Yee. Yee, aye. Hancock, aye. Calderon, aye.
Call the absent
Correa,
members.
Aye. Berryhill, no. Harmon, LaMalfa, no. Runner, Semidian.
That is 25 ayes, members, and 12 noes. The measure passes. File item 171, no manager. File item 172, Senator Woke. Senator Woke, would you like to take up file item 172? File item 173, no manager. File item 174, no manager. File item 175, Mr. Rubio. Mr. Rubio, are you taking up file item? Oh, beg your pardon. Senator Fuller, for what purpose?
I'd like to take up 174.
Mr. Bell's item?
Yes.
All righty. Members will go to file item 174, and the Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 215 by Assemblymember Bell, an act relating to emergency services.
Senator Fuller.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last year, legislation was enacted with bipartisan support to improve Medi-Cal payments to air ambulance providers through increased traffic violation penalties. That bill required the counties to send the funds collected to the state on a quarterly basis so they could be matched with federal funds. This bill will change the county's payment cycle from quarterly to monthly for the money they collect for the Air Ambulance Fund. The monthly remittance coincides with other monthly payments made by the county to the state. This amendment was requested by the counties and has the support of the Regional Caucus of Rural Counties. While in the Senate, this bill was amended to remove burdensome county reporting requirements. I ask you for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Fuller. Is there debate or discussion on file item 174, members? Seeing none, the Secretary will call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Canella. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Aye. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe.
Aye.
Aye. LaMalfa. Aye. Leno. Aye. Tedlew. Aye. Carol Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. Aye. Vargas. Aye. Walters. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee. Aye.
Call the absent members.
Calderon. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Harmon. Runner. Semidian. Steinberg. Walters.
The ayes are 35, the noes 0. The measure passes. And file item 175, Senator Rubio is passing. File item 176, Senator De Leon. Senator De Leon. Senator De Leon. File item 176. You're passing. File item 177, no manager. File item 178, that we'll take it up later. File item 179, no manager. File item 180, no manager. File item 181, no manager. File item 182, Senator Evans. Are you taking this up? Pass. Senator Evans passes. File item 183, Senator Hancock. Senator Hancock. She passes. Thank you, Senator Hancock. File item 184, no manager. File item 185, Mr. DeSaulnier. Mr. DeSaulnier? Pass. All righty. File item 186, Ms. Pavley. Senator Pavley? The Secretary will read. All right. Senator Pavley passes. File item 187, Senator Alquist passes. File item 188, Senator Calderon. Senator Calderon? Not at his desk. File item 189, Senator Leno. Senator Leno passes. File item 190, no manager. File item 191, Senator Liu. Right. That is to be amended. That's to be amended. Thank you. And file item 192, no manager. File item 193, Mr. Leno. Mr. Leno passes. File item 194 to be amended. File item 195, Mr. Leno. Mr. Leno passes. File item 186, Senator Wright. That's to be amended. File item 197, Senator Padilla. Thank you. We have a winner. The Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 841 by Assemblymember Buchanan, enacting to telecommunications and declaring the urge thereof to take effect immediately.
Senator Padilla.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, AB 841 will require the California Public Utilities Commission to require interconnected voice over Internet Protocol, or VoIP, service providers to collect and remit state universal service surcharges on their California intrastate revenues. It's yet another example of our policies needing to keep up with technology, and is similar to established standards by a 2008 Senator Kehoe bill that requires VoIP providers to collect state emergency 911 surcharges. It seeks to maintain our policies uniform, equitable, and competitively neutral. This bill has received unanimous bipartisan support in both houses. I ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion, members? Any debate? Seeing none, the Secretary will call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Blakesley. Calderon. I. Canella. I. Corbett. I. Correa. I. De Leon. I. DeSaulnier. I. Dutton. I. Emerson. I. Evans. I. Fuller. I. Gaines. Hancock. I. Harmon. Hernandez. I. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. LaMalfa. Leno. I. Ted Lieu. I. Carol Lieu. I. Lowenthal. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price. I. Rubio. I. Runner. Smidian. Steinberg. Strickland. I. Vargas. I. Walters. I. Wolk. I. Wright. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the absent
Wright, aye.
members. Call
Blakesley.
the absent members.
Gaines. Harmon. LaMalfa. I. Runner. Smidian. Smidian, aye. Steinberg. Gaines, aye.
Ayes 35, ayes 36, noes 0 on the urgency. Ayes 36, noes 0 on the measure. File item 198, Senator Pavley. The Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 275 by Assemblymember Solario, enacting into water.
Senator Pavley.
Yes, thank you very much. Members, this bill by Assemblymember Solario is called the Rainwater Capture Act of 2011. It's an important policy and helps our solution of adequately maintaining our water supply throughout California. This bill simply authorizes Californians to capture rainwater that falls on their own property and use that water for non-potable purposes, such as probably landscaping your yard instead of using other water. Why not capture and reuse rainwater? It resolves the legal ambiguity as to whether Californians can capture and use rainwater. Our statutes are silent, and there is no recent case law. The bill says simply yes to rainwater capture. The Senate policy committees, that would be Natural Resources and Water, which I chair, and Environmental Quality, have resolved all the technical issues, and the bill has received unanimous bipartisan support along the way. I ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion, members? Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam President. I will be supporting the bill for all of the reasons that Senator Pavley has just described. We do need a state policy with regard to the reuse of water, and we need some statewide standards. I just want to make note that the San Francisco PUC still has some problems with this bill, and I hope that we will, as we go forward, continue to work with them, continue to monitor. San Francisco has already been doing this for a while and would like to be able to go a step further, and they are concerned that this legislation will impede their progress. Of course, they're already doing what we want the state to be doing. So one of these finer details, I think it is a good statewide public policy. Again, I hope that we'll be listening to San Francisco as they move forward and see if we might need to make any tweaks in the coming year.
Further discussion, members? Any further discussion? Seeing none, the Secretary will call the roll.
Alquist. I. Anderson. I. Berryhill. I. Blakesley. I. Calderon. I. Canella. I. Corbett. I. Correa. I. De Leon. I. DeSaulnier. I. Dutton. Emerson. I. Evans. I. Fuller. I. Gaines. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. Hernandez. I. Huff. I. Kehoe.
Aye.
I. LaMalfa. I. Leno. I. Ted Lieu. I. Carol Lieu. I. Lowenthal. Negrete McLeod. I. Padilla. Pavley. Aye. Padilla, aye. Price. I. Rubio. I. Runner. Smidian. I. Steinberg. Strickland. I. Vargas. I. Walters. I. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the
Weil and
absent
I.
members. Call the absent members.
Dutton. Aye. Harmon. Lowenthal. Runner. Steinberg. Weiland, I don't know.
Ayes 35, noes 1. The measure passes. We are at file item 199, excuse me. Senator Rubio, do you wish to take that up? Not at his desk. File item 200, no floor manager. File item 201, Senator Simidian. Not passed. Thank you, Senator Simidian. File item 202, no floor manager. File item 203, Senator Berryhill. And the secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 914 by Assemblymember Atkins and Ackerling to State Commissions.
Senator Berryhill.
Thank you, Madam President. And members, for the opportunity to present AB 914 today. This bill helps create a level playing field for California cut flower growers to receive fair prices for their products and does so at a no cost to the state. Additionally, this bill creates a tracking system for California avocados, which will enhance the California Avocado Commission's ability to deal with any food safety issue, should they arise. Members, this measure does help two important agricultural commodities in California. I ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion, members? Any debate? Seeing none, the secretary will call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill.
Aye.
Aye. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Aye. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe.
Aye.
Aye. Lamalfa. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Rubio. Runner. Simidian. Aye. Steinberg. Strickland. Aye. Vargas. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Weiland. Aye. Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
Dutton, aye. Harmon. Lamalfa. Aye. Lowenthal. Rubio. Aye. Runner. Steinberg.
Ayes 36, noes 0. The measure passes. File item 204, no floor manager. File item 205, no floor manager. File item 206, Senator Vargas. The secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 243 by Assemblymember Alejo and Ackerling to Employment.
Thank you, Madam President and members, for allowing me to present AB 243 by Assemblymember Alejo. AB 243 requires a farm worker's wage statement to list the grower or other farm contractor for whom he or she worked during the pay period. The bill clearly states that listing the legal entity on the wage statement does not create any additional liabilities. Most of California farm workers are supplied to farmers by farm labor contractors licensed by the state, yet they are not required to disclose who contracted the farm labor contractor. In a recent survey of over 1,000 Central Valley farm workers, it was found that 70% of the workers could not identify the name of the farm they were working on. More than 600,000 farm workers are needed to harvest crops on over 64,000 farms in California. Knowing where a farm worker is working is critical, especially in instances where there are problems in the workplace. I would respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Is there debate or discussion, members? Any debate? Seeing none, the secretary will call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. No. Berryhill. No. Blakesley. No. Calderon. Aye. Canella. No. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. No. Emerson. No. Evans. Aye. Fuller. No. Gaines. No. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hernandez. I, Huff. Kehoe.
Aye.
I, Lamalfa. No, Leno. I, Ted Lieu. Carol Lieu. I, Lowenthal. I, Negrete McLeod. I, Padilla. I, Pavley. I, Price. I, Rubio. No, Runner. Semidian. Steinberg. Strickland. No, Vargas. Aye. Steinberg, aye. Walters. No, Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. No, Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
Harmon. Huff. Ted Lieu. Aye. Runner. Semidian. Semidian, aye. Huff, no.
Ayes 24, noes 14. The measure passes. Senator Rubio, we will return to your file item 199. The Secretary will read.
Assembly Concurrent Resolution 12 by Assemblymember Mendoza relative to Cesar Chavez Day.
Senator
Thank you,
Rubio.
Madam President and Senators. Today I present ACR 12, a resolution in celebration of the legacy of Cesar Chavez on behalf of the chair of the Latino Legislative Caucus, Tony Mendoza, and our great vice chair, Ron Calderon. This resolution has passed the Assembly floor on March 31st, 2011 to honor the life and service of Cesar Chavez. Delano, as the place where Cesar Chavez founded the UFW, is the heart of the district for which I have an honor to serve. He has been a role model for many of us who ran in the fields and the streets of the great Central Valley, and it's for those reasons that I would ask respectfully that you support this resolution honoring the life of Cesar Chavez and the life of his work to honor this day in his name. Thank you very much.
Is there debate or discussion on the resolution, members? Any debate or discussion? Any objection to a unanimous roll? Call the roll, please.
Alquist. I, Anderson. I, Berryhill. I, Blakesley. I, Calderon. I, Canella. I, Corbett. I, Correa. I, De Leon. I, DeSaulnier. I, Dutton. I, Emerson. I, Evans. Fuller. Gaines. I, Hancock. I, Harmon. Hernandez. I, Huff. Kehoe.
Aye.
I, Lamalfa. Leno. I, Ted Lieu. Carol Lieu. I, Lowenthal. I, Negrete McLeod. I, Padilla. I, Pavley. I, Price. Rubio. Price, I, Rubio. I, Runner. Semidian. I, Steinberg. Strickland. I, Vargas. Vargas, I, Steinberg, I. Walters. I, Wolk. I, Wright. I, Wyland. I, Yee. Yee, I. Evans, I.
Call the absent members.
Ted Lieu, I. Fuller. Harmon. Huff. Lamalfa. Huff, I. Runner.
That is ayes 36, noes 0. The resolution passes. Members, I see Senator Semidian at Senator Steinberg's desk. We will take up the resolution for the fellows now. Senator Semidian.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, I rise to request permission to make a presentation here at the rear of the chamber, as well as to request permission to have a photographer on the floor.
Without objection, Senator Semidian.
Thank you, Madam President and members. We are today once again acknowledging the contribution and service of our Senate Fellows, this year the 2010-2011 Senate Fellows, who will regrettably be departing at the end of this session. I think many of you know that the program has been with us for a great many years, established back in 1973. The Senior Senate Fellows Program grew out of a desire to provide college graduates of diverse ages with diverse backgrounds with an insight into the legislative process through their direct involvement. The program is jointly offered by the Senate and the Center for California Studies at Sacramento State University, And in addition to providing exposure to the legislative process, the participants in the program provide our members and our Senate policy committees with invaluable staff assistance. They bring a very special level of energy and enthusiasm, in my experience and observation, that is highly valued. We as individual members, as well as the people of California, are the beneficiaries of their service during the course of the year. I think you know that the experience broadens the perspectives of those who have this opportunity. They have academic, private sector, and government careers to come, and they will carry into their chosen fields an understanding of the legislative process and how to affect development of public policy. It's one of the most prestigious programs in the year. I'm pleased to tell you all members that once again, the California Senate Fellows ranked as one of the top 10 fellowship programs in the country, ranked right up there with Google and the Smithsonian. Truly, there is no other comparable legislative program like the Senate Fellows in the country. My pleasure now to introduce the 2010-2011 Senate Fellows. The flowers are not for me, Senator Padilla has advised me. And the senators are invited to join us for a photograph with their fellow as they are introduced. There will be a reception immediately following the presentation in room 211, and I'm going to begin now by calling the fellows forward. I'm going to ask individual senators to join us, as well as Senator Steinberg for a photo if the opportunity presents itself. Members, please join me in congratulating Crystal Araujo of Hayward, who has spent this year with Senator Padilla. We join her and join the Senate, please, in congratulating her and thanking her for her year.
And one more second, Senator Steinberg is
Next, members, please join me in welcoming and thanking Ronald Verdugo of La Puente, who has spent this year working with Senator Hernandez and his team. Ronald, please step forward. Our next fellow is Cornelius Burke of Los Angeles, who spent the year working with Senator Kevin De Leon. Senator De Leon, welcome your fellow Cornelius Burke, please. You need to tilt it slightly, not quite that much, but slightly. There. Members, one more round of applause, please, for Cornelius Burke. And please join me now in welcoming Sarah Ehrlich. We thank Sarah Ehrlich for her work in Senator Hancock's office this year. Sarah's from Los Angeles, and once again, a round of applause, please, thanking our Senate fellows. One more round of applause, please, for Sarah Ehrlich. Thank you, Sarah, for your work this year in Senator Hancock's office. Members, please join me now in welcoming Senate Fellow Gabrielle Jackson of Sacramento, who spent this year working with Senator Sam Blakeslee. Gabrielle, thanks so much for your year of service. Once more, please, a round of applause for Gabrielle Jackson of Sacramento. Members, a special round of applause and welcome, please, for our next fellow. It would be impolitic of me to single out any fellow. Let me just say that the next fellow is clearly one of the very best fellows this year. That would be William Leiter of Danville, who has spent the year working in the office of State Senator Joe Simitian, and it's been my great pleasure to have him this year. William Leiter, please step forward. Members, Samantha Louie has spent her year in local government committee. She is from Los Angeles. We have been the beneficiary of her good work throughout the course of the year. Please join me in welcoming Samantha Louie of Los Angeles, who spent the year with the local government committee. And thank you, of course, to Senator Lois Wolk, the chair of that committee as well. Members, please join me in welcoming Tyler Munzing. Tyler spent the year with Senator Fuller's office. He is from Orange, California. And once again, Tyler Munzing, please step forward and accept our thanks. Next up, Christopher O'Neill from Fairfield, California, spent the year working with Senator Cannella. Christopher, please step up and accept the thanks of the California State Senate. Congratulations once again, and welcome to Naomi Padron of El Monte, who spent the year working in Senator Rubio's office. Naomi Padron, please step forward.
The best fellow.
I see. Members, please join me in welcoming Victoria Rivera of Compton, who spent the year working with Senator Price. Victoria Rivera, please step forward and accept our thanks. And next up, Julia Smekalina from St. Petersburg, Russia, who spent the year working with Senator Weiland. Julia Smekalina, please step forward and accept our thanks. And finally, Jennifer Teasdale of Orangevale, please step forward. Jennifer Teasdale, who spent the year working with Senator LaMalfa. Jennifer, we were looking for that cowboy hat on you, but it's... Members, please join me once again in thanking and congratulating our entire 2010-2011 class of Senate Fellows.
Thank you, Senator Simitian, for your introductions, and thank you to each of the fellows for your work with the California State Senate. We appreciate your efforts very much. Thank you. And there is a reception in room 215? 211. So if we'd like to join the fellows for a minute or two, they'll be out there. Senator Steinberg.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Congratulations, and thank you again to all the fellows. I'd like to call a Democratic caucus, please, in the Maddie Lounge.
Democratic caucus in the Maddie Lounge. Senator Dutton.
Republican caucus in the Cox Lounge.
And Republican caucus in the Cox Lounge.